And those are all 88 questions that we received boiled down into sections, and again, reduced the questions because they were asked the same, just presented differently. So at this time, we are going to open up the question pod. You will be able to enter in your questions. The moderator will be able to address the questions to myself. I will do my best to answer them. If we don't get to all of them, again, we will regroup either with another town hall, or we will send out answers in a Q&A FAQ style. We'll give access to the recorded video tonight. And as I say, we will do our best. So right now, the Q&A pods in both rooms are open, and feel free to ask away, and we will do the best that we can.
Okay, so we have our first question, Ed. If we cancel our tournament in May,
okay, so we have our first question, Ed.
If
we cancel our tournament in May and issue refunds, will Baseball Ontario also issue the hosting fee?
So we will absolutely issue a refund if the tournament is canceled and you paid that fee for the tournament, once we look and ensure no other amounts are owing to Baseball Ontario. Because again, it's silly to give you money and then you turn around and give us money, and a lot of times it credits itself out. So Marianne typically, or Marianne and staff typically work with the local and then determine, is it best to hold it as a credit? Do we apply it against the amount already owed? And if there is no amount already owed and you don't want to apply it as a credit, absolutely, we would refund those fees.
Next question, has Baseball Ontario spoken to Goal Line about reducing
Next question, has Baseball Ontario spoken to Goal Line about reducing fees for refunds if the season does not happen?
That is an excellent question, and no, we have not. So we will take that one away. That is a humdinger award. Again, with all the moving pieces and the things that we've been working on around certification, again, the suspension of operations, all those moving parts, unfortunately, we did not think to do this. So we will take it away. We will get back to you as soon as we can, and really appreciate that question.
Who will be collecting registration fees for level 1 and 2 umpires?
Who will be collecting registration fees for level 1 and 2 umpires if it's Baseball Ontario? Will deposits be returned to local associations?
So the deposit will be applied against your umpire. So again, just like you've done before, and a lot of times we got feedback that local associations, there's a lot out there that pay for the umpire certification, and there's others that don't. So in this case here, we're dealing with 15, 16, 18-year-olds. So what we've done before is the local has always been responsible for collecting the money. So I know that's a little bit difficult right now. So how it would work is you would sign up for a clinic. If I'm the local, I'm Oshawa Baseball, and I'm signing up for my clinic, I would pay my $300 deposit. Now I'm the umpire-in-chief in Oshawa. I get all my umpires to go to Baseball Ontario, log in, and assign themselves the Oshawa clinic. Then our staff will say, hey, Oshawa, you've got 42 level 1 umpires in the class. Oshawa says, yep. Then we would send those 42 access to the learning platform, and then we would take 42 times $15. I really should have done dummy math. We take 42 times $15 minus the $300 that you would have already paid for your deposit, and then we would send the invoice for the remaining balance. You will find that a lot of times the $300 will cover it because level 1 is dropped to 15, level 2 is dropped to 25, and we will work with the locals in figuring out how the money comes together. But we did not want the 15, 16, 18-year-old umpire to have to log in and somehow try to pay for this using a credit card online. So that was the reason there, and we wanted to mirror the exact same process that we have done for years.
Players, parents, and umpires have to complete the Rowan's Law training.
Okay, next question. Assuming we have baseball, will coaches, players, parents, and umpires have to complete the Rowan's Law training?
Absolutely. That does not change. And regardless of the floating deadlines, it is so important that our athletes, coaches, and officials understand Rowan's Law, be aware of concussion management, return to play. Cannot stress the importance of that. And a shortened season doesn't diminish that level of importance. That's why central registration, by the way, you continue with central registration, because all that work that you've done so far, putting all the waivers in place, making sure all the language is there, absolutely, and it's going to protect you and cover you from Rowan's Law. So continue with that, and your coaches, athletes, and umpires will be
Next
will
question,
be
has the
fine
Board of
because they
Management
would have
set a
signed
date
off
as to
during
when
that
they will,
process.
next meet to determine the continued suspension?
Okay, next question, has the Board of Management set a date as to when they will next meet to determine the continued suspension of activities?
So our next meeting is scheduled for April 19th. That was in the books from last year. I will call a Board of Management meeting at any time we feel it is necessary based on current events. And believe me, the Board of Management's engaged. They reach out to me. They're sending me notes. Executive committee meets at minimum twice a week. So that level of dialogue is definitely going through. Dirk continues to keep me updated daily. And boy, I tell you, we definitely have our finger on the pulse as far as the level of expertise that sits within the Board of Management. I couldn't be more prouder of them. So when it's needed, we will call that meeting as needed. But right now,
Okay,
the
next
next one is
question.
scheduled for April
So what have the
19th.
discussions been like with the province? What are the projections looking like right now? And
Okay,
who's
next
gonna be
question.
Ontario?
So what have the discussions been like with the province? What are the projections looking like right now? And who is guiding Baseball Ontario from the provincial government?
Justin, I'm not sure I'm following the question. I know Marianne has been on several calls with the minister's office, but I'm not sure I'm fully understanding the question.
For the person who asked the question, if you want to type it in.
I think that answered the question.
Marianne,
Person who asked the question, if you want.
Yeah, Marianne, your microphones are live. If you want to just unmute your line and maybe share with the audience some things that you've been working,
Sorry, Ed, I was
if you
answering
will,
that
from that
questions.
perspective.
The question? Sorry, Ed, I was answering some chat questions. What was the question?
So we've been asked about the relationship and the involvement with the provincial government, and I had said that you have been on calls and you have been part of that distribution group from the government, and I thought maybe you could just provide some background.
Our particular
because you know a
ministry
little bit
has
more about
been
that
very
than I
hard
would.
hit. We are tourism, culture, and sport, and so they are working very hard to ensure that we'll be supported so when we can get back to regular activities, we'll be able to do that successfully. And they are hugely supportive of sport, and they are working on programs to help support all levels of sport locally, regionally, and provincially. There isn't much to say right now, though. Everybody's kind of in a holding pattern to see how this unfolds.
There isn't much to say right now, though. Everybody's kind of in a holding pattern to see how this unfolds.
Okay. And you continue to receive invites to those special calls, and you are representing Baseball Ontario during those calls. So thank you, Marianne. And,
Next question, can registration be held as a credit
Justin,
for
next
year?
question.
Next question, can registration be held as a credit for next year?
Local registration, I am assuming that is the question. Can you, it's a tough one. One of the things that you have to decide, again, it's about value and what's being offered. So as you articulate into other things where you're still providing levels of service, then you can say, hey, part of that registration goes towards that. But typically registration is designed for playing baseball in the upcoming season, especially house league. Now I can say from a rep program and possibly even select, I'm not sure, but some of our rep programs have been going strong throughout the fall into January, February, and so maybe some of the fees that have been paid are geared towards covering that as well. So what you would look into from a refund in that perspective, I would look at it and go, wait a second, if we're offering a 12-month program and you paid X amount of dollars and we got to here, well, some of that money's been eaten up. But if you're a house league and you haven't even started, then the answer would be no, because there is no level of service that has been provided. And again, though, if your refund policy is clear as day that there is no refunds, if there's no baseball, you will receive a full credit towards next year. I would strongly encourage, if that's the way you were going, to make that very transparent and cover that off. So as long as your parents know that.
Okay, next question. Based on what you indicated about the coaches and umpire clinics, will there